Welcome to Men of Order. Before we go any further, I want to know who's here with me live. So leave me a comment. Let me know where you're watching us from so that we can shout you out and show you some love, guys. The Men of Order are in the house. I want y'all to let me know that you're here. And it's important that I always tell you what Men of Order is about. Men of Order is not for lazy men. It's not for men avoiding responsibility. This is for men who are carrying weight at work with their family, their money, and their faith, but still feel like something is off. If you're doing everything you can to provide, to lead, to guide, but life still feels all over the place, if you're doing everything in your power to make your family better and your life better, type, that's me. Oh, shout out, shout out, shout out, shout out, shout out. We got Sir Yasharala in the house. Thank you so much, sir, for that $10 super chat. Really appreciate you, sir. Savannah is in the house. Let me know who else is here. Leave me a comment. Let me know that you're here. Let me know what city you're from so we can get started, okay? Let's be clear. Men of Order is for men who are striving to get to the next level. Today's session is about vision. Today, we're applying order to your faith and your spiritual life. Not motivation, not goal setting, vision. Because here's the disorder we're dealing with tonight. You are ambitious. You do work hard. You mean well. But without vision, you are killing yourself for nothing. And the Bible already told us this. When you read in Proverbs chapter 29, verse 18, it reads, "Where there is no vision, the people perish." Let me say this plainly. When a man has no clear direction for his life, his effort rots. His energy is wasted. His peace disappears. Not because he's a sinful man and not because he's lazy, but because effort without direction always destroys the man applying it. By the end of this session, you'll be able to say, I see why my life feels scattered. I know what vision actually means, because we talk about vision all the time. But do you know what vision actually means? You're going to know what vision means after today's talk. Where there's no vision, the people perish. I want to give a shout out. I'm seeing we got some more wonderful men in the house. I see my brother Rick is in the house. Shout out. He says, Shalom, I see you getting our men back on track. Trying to do it, my brother. Trying to do it. That's what the Men of Order platform is all about. Once again, Men of Order is for men who are carrying weight. This is for the responsible man, a man that works, a man that's trying to grow in all areas of his life, a man that's striving to lead his family as best as he possibly can, a man that's trying to get his money in order, a man that is passionate about his faith. This type of man, he's focused on all of these different areas of life, but still feels like something is off. If you're doing everything that you know how, but something still feels off, type, that's me. If you're feeling like, man, I'm doing everything that I can, but life still feels like it's all over the place, type, that's me in the comments. Because what you lack is vision. Where there's no vision, the people perish. Now, we're going to find out in today's session the first ordered move you need to make. We're going to talk. We're going to figure out what's really going on in your life. And we're going to apply order to your life. Y'all ready? Let's begin. Most men think that vision means big dreams. That's not what the Bible means. Vision is direction before effort. Here's what the disordered man is doing with his life. He wakes up and reacts. He reacts to emails, he reacts to text messages. Work problems come up that were unplanned, throws him totally off schedule. He's thrown off by other people's emergencies, whatever is loudest that day. This man works hard all day long and says yes to everything. Yes to extra work. Yes to staying up late. Yes to helping everyone else but himself. He says yes to things that he didn't plan and didn't choose. He's always saying yes, but he's always staying busy because he never decided where his life is actually going. So what is he thinking? As long as I work hard, God got me. God will figure this all out. I'll just keep grinding and God's going to open up doors for me. Something will open up. Here's what that cost him. His days feel long, his weeks blur together, and his prayer life turns emotional instead of obedient. I want to say that again. Y'all know that I lead a church called True Spirit of Christ. And being a shepherd over the congregation is very insightful because it shows how people pray. A lot of people pray from an emotional place where they want comfort without direction. They want God to give them relief for things that they're not willing to follow after. I want y'all to see what I'm saying. This disordered man turns his prayer life into an emotional baggage session, but he doesn't focus on obedience to God's direction and purpose for his life. As men of order, we must be about direction and purpose. This man prays because he feels overwhelmed. How many times have you prayed because you feel overwhelmed in life? How many times have you prayed when you feel guilty? You feel guilty because you feel like you're already behind in life. You pray because you think that things are already out of your control. And yet, you never change your life from day to day. You keep doing the same thing and then wonder why your prayers, it feels like it's not working. You're praying, but you're only praying so that you can feel better, not so that you could move any differently. See, this is the problem. When you read in the Bible, it says that faith without works is dead. If you're not doing the work to make a change, what you praying for? Or is your prayer sincere? So what if nothing changes? 5 years pass, and this guy is more tired now than when he started. Not just talking about being sleepy, I'm talking about being worn down. You are burnt out. You're catching it from all angles. You got shorter patience. You have less presence at home. Yeah, you're living in the house, but you have less presence there because you're mentally and emotionally checked out. You're always thinking about your work. You're snapping at your wife because of all of the pressure you got on your plate. You're zoned out with your kids. And then you start feeling bad about it, but not knowing what to fix. Everything is still unclear. Here this man is 5 years later, still saying, I don't know what I'm called to do. I don't know my calling. What he really means is, I don't know what I should focus on. I don't know what actually matters. I'm all over the place and I'm afraid of choosing, so I choose nothing at all. That's the root of the problem. That's not wisdom, that's disorder. Let me ask you something direct. How many of you feel busy, but you can't clearly explain what you're actually building? Type busy if that's you. How many of you feel extremely busy from sunup to sundown? You're going. But if I were to ask you, what are you building in your life? Yeah, I see you moving, but where are you going? Type busy if that's you. If you cannot clearly explain what you're building, even though you feel busy, type busy if that's you. Because this is how disorder sneaks in quietly. Men confuse belief with doing what God already showed them. They'll say, I believe that God will take care of me. But they don't change their schedule. They don't set boundaries. They don't decide anything. So the belief without action becomes an excuse to stay stuck. I need y'all to hear what I'm saying. Today, we're tapping into how to apply order to your spiritual life. We talk about all kind of things on this channel. We talk about money. We talk about productivity. We talk about leadership. We talk about business. But the one thing that we really need to get to the bottom of is order applied to our faith. So many people in this life, they treat faith just as a emotional episode where they're not trying to connect with God to make change. They just want emotional relief. So they pray for relief. They hope that things change without them changing. And that's how disorder sneaks in. Because you convince yourself spiritually that God's going to make a way for you, but yet he's given you all of the tools for you to get to the other side. He's already answered your prayer. The problem is you want him to do everything. You say, I believe that God's going to take care of me. But he has taken care of you. How? Because he's giving you a sense of purpose. He's giving you a calling. Now is our time to walk worthy of the vocation that we're called. How do you do that? Well, let's start first by how a disordered man doesn't do that. A disordered man does not set boundaries. They don't decide what they should do and what they should not do in order to achieve their life's vision. They have belief that God's going to do everything for them, but that belief is really an excuse to stop taking action. Faith without works is dead. Shout out to Talk That Truth Radio. He says, I definitely need a constant schedule that's applying order to your life. You might believe that a blessing is on the way, but you have to apply order in order to receive the blessing and keep the blessing. Belief without action becomes an excuse to stay stuck in the exact same place. Most men confuse emotion with direction. They say, I'm waiting to feel peace. But peace usually comes after you decide, not before. The peace comes after you've made a decision, because then you'll have clarity. If you haven't made a decision yet, you're nervous, you're anxious, You know that something needs to happen, but you haven't taken the next step. You're still in your feelings, and feelings are not directions. They're signals, and signals don't lead your life. Most men confuse faith with effort. They think working harder is proof that they trust God. But God never asked for pointless effort. He asked for clear direction. God never asked you to be busy just for busy sake. He asked you to be obedient. And obedience always has direction. Think about that. Whenever you study the word of God, God is always providing clear direction. Thou shalt do this, thou shalt not do this. That's a clear direction. It's not vague. It's not all over the place. You show your obedience through your action. So why won't you do the same thing in your personal life? Why not give your personal life a sense of direction? I want us to talk about a principle that we can apply in our life so that we can walk in the vision that God has in store for us. Principle 1, God gives direction before he blesses effort. Let me give you all a real example of that. A man works 6 days a week. He works long hours. He gets no rest, always working. But the problem is his work has no aim. Another man works with boundaries. He knows what he's building. He knows what doesn't matter. They worship the same God. They read the same Bible. One man has peace, the other man has burnout. And here's what I've noticed personally. Every season of my life where I felt heavy and under pressure, I was working without a clear end in mind. I was busy all day, exhausted at night, but not actually moving closer to where I wanted to be. I wasn't lazy. I wasn't avoiding the work at all. I just never stopped to decide what actually mattered. I was putting energy into everything, which really meant that nothing was actually moving forward. Let me restate this first principle simply. God does not bless effort first. He blesses direction. We always think that we got to start with effort, give effort. God does not bless effort first. He blesses direction. Where there's no vision, the people perish. How do you spot this in your personal life? You pray for strength, but not clarity. Man, I got this big workload. I got all these things going on. Lord, give me strength. Your strength isn't the problem. Your lack of clarity and direction is. God can give you all the strength in the world, but if you don't have clarity and the right direction, it means nothing. Ask Samson. Samson, a biblical figure, was the world's strongest man. And it was his lack of right direction that costed him his life. That's what happened with Delilah. You can pray for all the strength in the world, but imagine applying all your strength to the wrong purpose. You could only be sabotaging yourself faster. Strength is a beautiful thing, but so is clarity. And you can't have vision without clarity. But when we always are in this mode of effort, 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 strength, 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 you work harder and harder without ever deciding a clear direction for your life. And you convince yourself that if you just work harder, that everything else will fall into place, and it never does. But what does an ordered man do here instead? Well, first, he decides where his life is going before he pours energy into it. If you see this, type I see it. I'm loving the comments. Talk That Truth Radio says true. He blesses us following the proper path. Those that create strict structure run their own businesses and schedules. That's the next level I have to elevate to. Sir Yasharala says, I see it. Brother Adriel says, I see it. I see a lot of hardworking men that are well intended, that are putting effort before the vision. You've got to get the vision right first. As it is written, write the vision and make it plain. Plain means clear. God already told you this. Write the vision and make it plain, man. Written. Write down this vision. Written means that it's decided. If you've taken the time to write something down, you've already made a decision regarding what you're writing down. Write the vision and make it plain. Write it down and make it clear. God does not guide men who refuse to make decisions. You have to make a decision on where your life is going. So we're going to kick this off right now to get this party started. If life feels scattered for you right now, and you're working hard, but you don't really know what you're aiming at, I want to have a real conversation with you. Not coaching, not advice, just helping you get clear so that your effort actually has a point and a purpose. Many of us have been taught the value of hard work without purpose. We work with a purpose, we party with a purpose, but we got to have clarity. So if you're open to joining me on camera for a few minutes so we can talk through what's really going on and I can help you get a better outcome, click the link below. The link is in the comments. Make sure y'all tap in with me. The link is on the screen. Okay, I see we got some guests in the back waiting to join. All right, so we've got Sir Yasser Allah, bringing him in right now. Please make sure, for those of you that are joining, that your camera is on, that you're sitting somewhere quiet and calm, ready to be honest. You don't need the right words, just tell the truth so that I can help you. So, shalom, sir. Good to see you. Hello, hello. I can't hear you. Can y'all hear him if you're online?
Shalom, Chief Elder.
I can hear you now, sir. All right. So, you know how we
Can you
do
hear
it,
me?
sir. Good to see you as always. What's your name? Where are you calling from? A little bit of connectivity
Sir
issue.
Yasharala. Let me do uh let me do a restart, come back in.
Okay. All right. All right, y'all. So we got the link in the comments for those that are looking to join. Please make sure that y'all tap in. Okay, I see. I see we got my brother. He's back. Shalom, welcome back, brother. I'm gonna unmute you. If you can, see if you can unmute yourself. You're currently on mute. Okay, I'm seeing someone else. I'm gonna bring you back in, brother Joshua, because I can't hear you because you're on mute. I see that Yasharala, Sir Yasharala is back. Let me see if Sir Yasharala, you're good to go now. How are we looking? Sir Yasharala, you there? You on the screen? Can you hear me?
Testing, Chief Elder. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I can hear you. It's a bit of a delay. If possible, please make sure that
It's a
YouTube
delay for
is
some reason.
closed in the background. Make sure that you're tapping in through the StreamYard link and not the YouTube link so that there's no echo in the background and there's no delay.
I can't hear anything.
Okay, I'm gonna bring you back in, sir, and I'm gonna bring brother Jason on. Okay, Jason, welcome.
Welcome. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So happy to have you on, man, and good to see you.
Oh, same here. Same here.
Okay, so if you could do us all a favor, let the audience know your name and where you're calling from.
Um, my name is Jason. I'm calling from El Paso, Texas.
Oh, okay. Shout out. Texas is in the house. All right.
I'm from New York. I'm from New York.
Okay,
Yeah.
from New York,
Yeah.
but watching currently from Texas. I hear
I,
you.
I,
Okay.
I live in Texas. I live in Texas now.
Got you. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. So, in one sentence, tell me what feels unclear for you right now.
I would say my direction going forward. It seems like one, I'm like distracted. Like my mind is like all over the place. Seems like I can't, I haven't found like clarity. Like my mind is all over the place. I'm like, it seems like I'm jumping. I got out of the military in what 2023, so
Hmm.
like 2.5 years ago, and I've
Okay.
been kind of struggling to kind of get my footing in the right direction. You know,
I I got you. Thank you for letting me know that. Now, just to be clear, what would make this conversation a win for you today?
I would say what will make me a win to have like a real, I guess, solid steps to moving forward. Like having, I guess, a stronger sense of clarity.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to that. Okay. So, in order to do that, I'm going to ask you some questions
Yes.
and, we're going to see how we can bring clarity and purpose to your vision. So, first, let's zoom in a little bit on where there's no direction in your life. So, obviously on this Men of Order platform, we talk about career, for example, right? We
Yes.
talk about finance. Can you help me understand? Do you have no direction when it comes to your career path and kind of where you want to go with it?
I would say maybe I do, or maybe I don't feel as confident in it because,
Okay.
like you said, like I have like degrees, and I have like degrees in finance, and then you see how like society changes so frequently. You don't really know. It feels like do I
Mm,
do I pursue like my education from the past, or do I go to like a different path that's like more quote unquote more marketable or more in demand. So I
I
would
got you.
yeah,
Yeah, I could see how just the fast pace of life and this society, it can kind of leave you wondering, man, should I go here or should I go there? Should I pursue this opportunity or should I pursue that opportunity? If I pursue this opportunity, how do I know that this won't be something that's obsolete within the next few years? Is that kind of how you
yeah,
feeling?
yeah. That's
Okay.
how I'm feeling. I'm feeling like a state of constant limbo.
Got you. Okay, perfect. So we can work with that. So right now, Jason, if you wouldn't mind, kind of walk me through what a normal week looks like for you. What do you have going?
For me, I have like a couple of things going. One, I have like a mobile mechanic business that I've started, but like I said, I'm trying to get that going. So I,
Hmm.
I would say the normal work week for me is usually I wake up around maybe 5 o'clock, 5:30. I'll go running, go to the gym, do some fitness. After that, then I'm on like I just found out about a prayer group, which is around like 7. So from like 7 to like 8, from like 7 to like 8, and then after 7 to 8, then I like shower a bit, and then I kind of like start my day. My day could be like different things, different tasks. Um, like because I'm trying to build this business. So I look up different like marketing plans. I try to develop SOPs, getting the right people, hiring the right mechanics. And then I'm like responding to like maybe people who call me, and then I'm trying to get the mechanics to get the job. And then I have to find, because I know a little bit about mechanical work, but sometimes certain like hands-on stuff is beyond my level. So I have to really rely on the mechanics as the subject matter experts to handle that. And then so I'm like figuring out between that, dealing with the customer and dealing with finding the right parts. So it's a lot of moving cycles. And then, like I said, the business isn't as sustainable I would like. So I need additional income while trying to, while maybe, until this business kicks off, and then I can, focus on the business full time. So then I would look for like, certain jobs and stuff like that, certain career paths.
Okay, I got you. Let me make sure I'm tracking. So you are in the midst of starting this business, you're running it. There's a lot of things that's going on. Things seem to be very busy. As you're working on one thing, another thing is popping up, and it becomes very burdensome. Based upon the current pace of things, doesn't feel the most sustainable, right? And as a result, um, not only do you feel the weight of that, but also the demands, and the money doesn't line up yet. You're doing a lot of the work, but
Yes.
you're still going to need additional income to support you. Is that about accurate?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. All right. So again, we getting there. We getting there. All right. So let's talk about what your life looks like as you're working through this business. When you're trying to work, Jason, do you have like blocked off period of times to work on specific things in the business? I heard you say like you might be working on one thing, you might be getting a phone call. What areas of your work week have no boundaries?
I would say probably, um, I I would say that's probably the challenges, because sometimes I feel like I'm jumping, and I don't really have like you said, block off certain times, because sometimes it feels like I'm just keep responding. I feel like a ping pong, and then I'm exerting all this energy, and I'm like, I'm getting like minimal progress. So I would say probably my whole life is probably not having boundaries. You know,
Wow.
yeah.
Wow. I
If you
like how you put that.
if you want to be
So
honest.
so let me ask you this, Jason. So if you keep going on that same pace that you're on right now and nothing changes in the next 12 months, what do you think would happen?
What would happen is a couple of things. One, I would be stressed mentally, emotionally, um, and then also um, like financial ruin, because like I said, it's opportunity cost. I also invest in the business, so I would say those two things. Energy, and then like maybe financial ruin. You know,
Energy and financial ruin. What about relationships? Do you think that any of your relationships would suffer as a result of, the loss of energy and the loss of finances?
oh yeah, yeah. Even now, because I'm married too, and sometimes I'll get real stressed, and then like certain things, I wouldn't. Maybe I'm more of a passive aggressive person. I don't really exert. I don't really say this stuff. When I'm upset with like maybe my spouse, I'm pretty much I'm like silent. I kind of
Mhm.
like have my space. I don't like really do that back and forth. And I,
Right.
and I noticed that like really creeping inside of me. And sometimes I'll think about my spouse, or maybe I'm just looking at certain stuff, and I was like, my spouse, she can help out doing this, so forth and so on. So maybe I'm like misdirecting, my frustration.
Wow. I'm so happy that you shared that with me because now it's really coming together. You see, like, okay, you've got a business, you're doing a lot of work, a lot's going on, and you feel that you're not getting the fruits of your labor, and it's wearing you out, and it can also be wearing other people out too. And so let me ask you, do you think the real issue is that you don't have a plan, or that you're in fear of choosing the wrong thing? So, for example, you've got a business right now. You're working hard on the business. And even though the business may not be where you want it to be, um, you're kind of already going down a path, right? In addition to that, you're looking at a job. So, do you think, based upon how your life is currently operating, that the problem is that you don't have a plan, or that you might be a little bit nervous about just taking the plan that you already have and just going deeper in it, making a decision?
I would say it was the second option. Having a plan, and then I'm like reluctant to go deeper because a part of me feels like this business can really take off if I get the right things going on. But like I said, it's the bridge between my current state, I'm financially struggling, and my current responsibilities is the thing that makes me think maybe I gotta go back and maybe get a job, at least until this. Kicks off.
Correct. Okay, so let's talk about the disorder.
Yes.
The disorder is, you went into starting a business well intended,
Yes.
but it might have been premature.
Yes.
And the reason why it might have been premature is not because, you're too young for the business, or that, you're not ready to work hard enough for the business. That's not the problem. The problem is you've entered into a business without very clearly defined steps and tunnel vision towards what needs to be worked on when. So now, while you're working on the business, you're getting distractions from all angles. You're working on one thing, you're getting interrupted about another, and you're doing a lot of work, but it's not translating into money as you would hope that it would.
Yes.
Right. And I think a big part of the reason why there's stress is because now you've arrived at a point where you're asking yourself, is me working harder down this current path actually going to turn into money, or am I just running myself into the ground?
Yes.
And that's what I mean when I'm speaking about the disorder of having started the business, but there needing to be a few things that you do prior to that, right? So when we peel back the layers, one major reason why you're going through stress right now running your business is because you're putting it under the pressure of performance instantly. What do I mean when I say the pressure of performance instantly? When you do the research, most businesses typically don't last 5 years. They run out of cash, and most businesses do not turn a significant profit well until after 5 years of its development. Sometimes we put too much pressure on the business and ourselves when we get into it, and we really need it to start turning money over as soon as we get started, right? And the problem is, that doesn't mean that the business isn't going to prosper. It just might take longer than you would like. And what is making the pressure weigh so heavy is the fact that you don't have an income stream that's sufficient enough outside of the business to actually set up the business the right way, right? And that's the reason why, as you're running this business, you're like, man, I just got to work. I just got to go. If somebody's calling, I got to answer the call. If I got to respond to this, I got to respond to this. There's not enough time to create structure and then work. And so what I would advise is this. Am I making sense so far?
Yes, you are.
What I would advise is this, because, you seem like you really got all of the tools, man. You got the work ethic. You've got the intelligence. We just need, again, a clear direction moving forward. From what it sounds like, you really need to reduce some of the pressure that you're feeling in a business that can sustain you and can also cause problems in your marriage, knowing how big money problems are in marriage. Can't play with that. I think it's very important that you secure a good position that can sustain your family, and then you work on adding structure to your life so that you can make time for the business, doing it the right way. Right now, you can't see the forest from the trees because you're so busy in survival mode. You just have to do something.
Yes.
You see, like if you take the time right now to not actually work, but just think, I'd bet you'd feel a little bit guilty because you feel like you need to be doing something urgently, right?
Yes.
So I need you to give yourself enough grace to secure a steady position, manage the finances of the house, get that problem off your back, stabilize the marriage, and then from there, audit the business.
Okay.
Ask yourself, why is the business not working? What's holding the business back? And a lot of times, a lot of business owners, they work in departments of the business that is outside of their bottleneck. When I use the word bottleneck, I'm referring to the one thing that's actually slowing the business down.
Yes.
So for example, some guys, I was on a call with a brother last week in one of my sessions, and one of his primary bottlenecks was lack of marketing. If he would market his business more, it would solve a lot of his problems, because although he's getting clients, he's not getting the right clients. He's so busy working and just servicing any client that he's not actually maximizing how much he could make. And what's so ironic about that, Jason, is if he focused on just that one thing, he would actually get better clients, making more money while doing less work, because he's so busy being busy. So what I want you to do, man, is I want you to just take this thing in steps. I want you to focus first on securing the position. I got a ton of content about just that. We will go over that in more sessions. Make sure that you get on more calls with me.
Yes.
Let's focus on securing that job first.
Yes.
Secure that job. Let's get the money solid. And then from there, we're going to look under the hood of the business to see what effort we were putting towards the business that kept us busy, but it wasn't moving actually towards the goal of making more money from the business. How does that sound?
That sounds great. That sounds amazing.
Okay, sir. Well, thank you as always for joining, man. And hopefully I'm going to see you again.
Yes. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Okay, sir. Have a good one.
You too.
All right, now. So, men, did y'all hear that? Jason, he's very hardworking, very smart. This was not a motivation problem. It's a vision problem. See, life is so busy that it's hard to take the time for the vision to be fully developed. Remember what we went over earlier. Write the vision and make the vision plain. A lot of times, because we need the dollar right now, you don't feel like you have any time to write the vision. You just gotta go. And when there's no vision, the people perish. I'm gonna let somebody else in right now. Let me see if Sir Yasharala, things are looking a little bit better on your end. How we doing?
Can you hear me, Chief Elder?
Loud and clear, sir.
You had to restart. So, but Sir Yasharala from Savannah, Georgia. I finally made it home. So, you
Glad
know,
you made it home, sir. Glad you made it out of that winter storm. All praises. Okay.
and go ahead, sir. I'm sorry.
No problem at all. If you could tell me in one sentence what feels unclear to you right now.
Is the what you talked to him earlier, like you said, to make your vision plain? Because I have a lot of notes, like you said, but it wasn't plain, so I started talking back to you.
Right.
And like you said, I've been working on that, and you didn't tell me one thing either. You should have said,
Yeah. What's
you should
that?
you said once you get all of the distractions, people are not going to know you. They're
Right.
not. I told everybody else, if you're not my brother that's been in the military, because we talk because of PTSD. You know how that goes. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You keep making sure he's stable. My daughter in college, my other daughters that's here, I told them the same thing. Text me first. And my other friends, you're correct. I said, you don't send me email, don't call me.
Yeah.
If it ain't life and death, just don't call me. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Just don't. And when I said that, you were correct. Nobody calls you. I'm driving like, is my phone working? Is my phone working? I'm like, I know I pay my bill, you know what I'm saying? But you're correct. There was a lot of distractions that I didn't even realize at all.
Mm.
Even for 5 minutes, it's still a distraction.
Yes,
You know what
sir.
I mean? But they don't call. Ain't nobody called me since last week. Nobody. You know.
That's very interesting that you said that regarding distractions, sir. Isn't it so funny how we can go through our life as creatures of habit, and it becomes so normalized. You see, like you get so used to, all right, I'm getting the phone calls, I'm getting this distraction, I'm getting that distraction, but this is just how life is supposed to be. Until you take the time to see, man, you know what? If I got rid of some of these distractions, if I just changed one thing, is it going to press my life forward? So let me ask you, now that some of the distraction has been removed, have you noticed any progress?
Yes, slept a lot better all
Very
week
good, sir.
long. Even during the storm, my sleep, my rest was completely different. I
Very
wake
good.
up, I feel more revived. You know what I mean? Like, whoa, you know what I'm saying? But I did feel that. So,
Very
and
good.
like, so, and
Very good.
like you said, too, I had to really concentrate. Because as soon as I got back here, I went to, you know what, Walmart, and you was right there on my shoulder. Said, "Get out, get
Yes,
out,
sir.
get out." You're right. I believe because it was a habit forming. I've been doing it all the time and didn't realize till I'm there. Like, why
Yes,
am I
sir.
really here? You know what I mean?
Yes, sir. And just by applying those steps that we talked about from last week, you've already gotten better sleep and you're saving yourself some money. Now, I want to ask you this. Where do you feel like you don't have enough direction right now? I know we've been talking about, making a plan.
Once I get that plan, I should finish it this week because I had really three agendas I wanted. But like you said, I'm putting it together. I can submit it, so you can say yes, no, whatever, because I don't want to interfere with my Sabbath, holy days, et cetera, because I know later on I will hire employees. You know what I
Correct.
mean? Because I do know that, but I don't want to interfere with, with that per se. You know what I'm saying?
So is there any specific area where you feel like, I'm still kind of unclear about something. I don't have direction, maybe direction about the steps I'm taking towards my career shift, direction about my money. Is there any area where you feel like there's not enough direction just yet?
How to appropriate certain management to certain positions. You know what I mean? So when I come in or go on the computer, whether I can just see what's going on, because I really don't want hands-on per se. once it establishes. You know what I mean? I want to sit back and just, I know what direction I want to go, but I don't want to hands on. I want to just sit back and, like you said before, give our people in the church a job to do that. You know what I mean? And stuff like
Got it.
that. That's what I'm looking for as management besides that.
Let me make sure I'm tracking with you, sir. So you're looking to transition into a new venture wherein you'll be able to create opportunities, for others within a community. And you don't want to be hands on where you're doing all these other roles yourself. You're wearing all the hats. You're trying to create a structure where you're able to employ others and make sure that they're able to do the work. Is that about correct?
Correct. Because you told me that
Okay.
before, years ago, when you first
Hmm.
started, I was driving a truck and doing the work. And you like,
Correct.
dude, you work yourself in the dirt. I'm like 1 o'clock in the morning, getting
Correct.
dirty. But you said, no, you can't. And you're right. That was a lot released when I stopped doing that. Certain things I do because it's light, I can do it. But like the make, nah, you're right. I don't want to do that anymore because it takes a lot of your time.
Yes, sir. So let's talk about this. So here's the reason why there's not enough direction towards that path as of yet. You've got to be able to look at the entire business as it ought to run, and you've got to identify all of the roles and processes and then document them so that you can hire qualified employees to do the job effectively while still having a management model. I know I said a mouthful. Let me bring this back. Your goal is to transition into a business that will allow you to create jobs for other people without having to micromanage all of them, nor to do all of the work yourself, right? So, in that case, going back to what I was just talking about with Jason, right? Using that as a great example of how you can start a business and you could do a lot of work within a business. But if you don't have the right vision or structure behind the business, you're going to burn yourself out not reaching the goals that you want to reach, right? So what we want to do before you put in the effort is we already want to plan the business according to the lifestyle that you want. So you should first think about where you want your life to be while the business is running. You need to ask yourself, okay, if this business that I envision were running perfectly, where would I be? What would I be doing? How many hours would I be dedicated to the business? And how would everything else and everyone else in the business function? So let me just give a basic example because I know that we got people watching. And again, I'm trying to make it plain. Shout out to Videos to Views. He said, welcome back. Glad to be back. Thank you for the love. Okay, let's just imagine right now that you are running a restaurant and you don't want to be, ripping and running throughout the restaurant, but you do want to have a business that allows you to make money and to employ others. Well, just at a very high level, you first want to have a sense of assurance that this business is going to be a profitable one, because this is not a one man business. You want to be able to have other people working within the business, right? So you're going to need to generate enough money to be able to make money for yourself as well as for other people. Well, in addition to that, you're going to need to ensure that you know what everyone is supposed to do. Again, if I've started a restaurant, if I don't know anything about a restaurant, I can't tell nobody else how to operate a restaurant. If I'm starting a restaurant and I know everything there is to know about restaurants and I'm very skilled, but I hire people and I don't tell them what their role is and how to do it effectively, the restaurant is still going to suck. And that's going to be bad because I might know everything in the world about restaurants, but because other people are running it, that's going to shame my name. It's going to be my brand and my image on the line. And so what I have to do is I really need to make sure that, if I don't need to make all of the money right now, but if I'm focused on just starting a venture and making sure that I'm able to delegate to others, I need to make sure that I write down every step that goes into running the business. I need to document and demonstrate how to do this part the right way for as many areas that you can help, especially very critical areas, right? You need to have that documented because once you go through the hiring process, you don't want to just hire someone who cannot do the job effectively. Otherwise, they're going to ruin your business. You need to make sure that you are, recruiting skilled talent, but then giving them enough direction to follow. And so, for us digital guys, one of the best things that I recommend is to take a video. Take a video of everything that you're doing. I know that as a military man, you already understand SOP, right? You already understand, okay, hey, having that instruction manual. The instruction manual is one thing. Being able to have a video where people can literally see exactly what you're doing step by step, that's a totally different level, because in that case, they could watch it 1,000 times. They can pause it at any parts that they don't understand. They can review one specific area where they go through their own trial and error. That becomes a 24/7 teacher. That's how you're able to separate your time from your management. But it is important to note, even though that's going to reduce the level of management, you're still going to have a management model in place. There's a lot that I'd want to talk about with you on this topic, but to make it plain, you got to write the vision and you got to make it plain for others to follow. You with me? Okay, perfect. Okay, sir. So let's continue to take this thing step by step, hop on other sessions, and we can walk through some more of this together. I like the fact that you've already kind of got your goal in mind of your career transition, but we're really going to need to go deeper on this venture. Be very clear on what the perfect business that you're after looks like. And then once we have that identified, we can start to work in reverse, making sure that every role in the business has coverage. And then we can hire and onboard from there. Does that sound good?
Yes, sir. And one more thing, real quick.
Yes, sir.
So I did make contact with suppliers from China.
Mhm.
So just put that on hold and just send them updates with them, what's going on. Hey, I'll get with you, stuff like that. 'Cause I did make three suppliers in China for the product. And still do it trucking, you know what I mean? Because here this is a big demand for it. It's no capitalism for it's capital for that demand itself. Because there's
Yes,
too
sir.
many that goes around. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir. There's nothing wrong with what you currently got going. If you're working with suppliers, you're working with suppliers. But the key is this: if you're already in the midst of working on the business, um, and in the business, you got to make sure that you can keep the business running until you have the time and the money for it to grow without you. So you got to make sure that everything that you're doing now, you can hold it down right now by yourself, get things going, make the money you can make the progress that you can make. But along the way, while you're doing that, you've got to start documenting, because otherwise you will just create a full-time job that can be more demanding and stressful than the one that you already have. You enter the business, you work in the business, you document what works, what doesn't work from the business, and then you position someone else to manage the business for you. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay, sir. I'm looking forward to unpacking some of those details, but I think that we got a good step forward from this call. Yeah?
Yes, sir.
All right, sir. Thank you for joining. And Lord willing, I'll be seeing you soon.
Lord willing, sir.
All right, now. Okay, man. So did you hear that? See, every time we go through these calls, it all goes back to one thing. It goes to having a sense of structure. It's about how we can apply order to our life, not just working for work's sake, okay? This was not a motivation problem. It's a vision problem. Sir Yasharala, he has an idea of what he wants to see, but it's not until you write that vision, make it plain, that it's going to come to life. And it's not going to come to life through a plain vision without detail. The detail is what makes the vision plain. If you guys got a lot of benefit from the two talks that I had today with Jason and Sir Yasharala, and if you could see how all of these things may apply to you, type I see it to let me know that y'all are here. All right. And let me understand how this applies to you. So let me say this, guys, because we just talked about one principle thus far. Now I want us to talk about the second principle. Vision turns faith into obedience. Vision turns faith into obedience. Always remember that faith without works is dead, and faith without direction becomes emotional. Here's what a disordered man does. He prays when he feels pressure, not to get direction, but to calm his nerves. He's only looking for emotional relief. We are men of order. We need more than emotional relief. See, when you pray like that, prayer just becomes relief and not a plan. We need a plan, men. This is the type of disordered man that will read a scripture when he feels behind in his life, but once he stops feeling guilty, he doesn't change anything about his life. Everything is the same. He's using the Bible only for a spirit of comfort in his life. The Bible says that it is definitely comfort, right? Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. The things that are written for our learning, that through patience and comforts of the scriptures, you might have hope. But the Bible is so much more than a tool of comfort. It's also a tool of instruction. We're not only supposed to utilize it for comfort, we're supposed to utilize it also for instruction. That's what a man of order does. But a man of disorder waits for peace before moving forward. He waits to feel good before moving forward. But you know the crazy thing? Direction usually comes after movement, not before. Once you start making moves, then that's when you're able to get a sense of direction better. If you're just waiting for the perfect moment, man, that's just a delay tactic. Why are you stalling? Here's what a disordered man is thinking. Man, once I feel good about it, then I'll take action. But here's what that costs him. He stays stuck, going through the same routines, the same prayers, the same problems year after year. Nothing moves because nothing is chosen. He has not made a firm decision. He has to decide how to move forward with his life. And because he never decides how to move forward with direction and vision, his days are run by whatever pops up, whether it's work problems, family problems, money problems. He's always responding to problems, but he's never deciding what direction he's going to move in. The irony is, if you simply decided the direction you would move in your life, a lot of the problems would go away. The reason why people have a lot of problems is because they have not moved forward with a clear direction. Look at the call that we just had with Jason. Jason is going through problems in part because decisions got to get made, and we got to stick with those decisions. And we may not be able to do everything at once, but we need to make our next move our best move. And then when we fix that problem, magically some of the other problems will disappear. Don't ask God to bless your confusion. That's what a disordered man does. He keeps asking God to bless confusion. What do I mean when I say he asks God to bless confusion? God's not the author of confusion. A disordered man asks God to bless confusion because he's asking God to fix situations that the man refuses to bring order to. God is blessing him with the knowledge to apply order in his life, but he doesn't want the order. He wants to feel good inside without making personal choices. He wants it to fall in his lap. He wants results in life without a sense of direction. And he's going to stay the same, working every single day, responding to every emergency that pops up, but he's not going anywhere. Why? Because he has not made the decision. He's prayed to God. God's already going to bless him. But you got to do something. You got to take the step forward. Faith without works is dead. You have to work. So how do we work? We work towards the direction that we need to go. But if nothing changes, years pass, same prayers, same fog that you can't see through in life, staying in the exact same place. Let me say this the simple way. Faith is not waiting. Faith is moving with direction. Look at Abraham in the Bible. God didn't give him the full roadmap up front. He gave Abraham a direction. Go. Abraham moved first, and then clarity followed later. That's how faith works. Direction and then movement. Not feelings, then comfort. How do you spot this within yourself? You talk about trusting God, but you avoid making decisions. Trusting God means that you move when he gives direction. Many times God has already put the writing all on the wall. You just have to have the courage to take the next step. You know what? Sometimes when I get on these calls with these guys, you may notice they may have an idea of what they should do, but they really just need that extra push. We all need that. Two's better than one. These are times in which God has already given you a sense of direction. You just need to take that step forward. But if you're avoiding decisions, see, you're still trying to protect yourself in your comfort zone. But your growth and your comfort are not the same thing. The more you try to hide in your comfort zone, the more you show God that you don't trust him. Trusting God means you're willing to step outside of your comfort zone and follow the direction. You can't say, I trust God, but refuse to choose a direction all at the same time. How does an ordered man do things instead? He writes the vision, he makes it plain, and then he moves in obedience. If that's clear, type clear. What do ordered men do? They write the vision, they make it plain, then they move in obedience. Simple, but not always easy. I want to read this scripture to you guys. This comes from the book of Ecclesiasticus. In the 7th chapter and the 36th verse, it reads, "Whatsoever thou takest in hand," we're reading from Ecclesiasticus, not Ecclesiastes. "Whatsoever thou takest in hand, remember the end, and thou shalt never do amiss." You see that? Use plain language. If you remember where you're going, you won't keep wasting effort. That's what the verse is saying. In other words, vision protects obedience. When you know where you're going, you're less likely to get pulled off course. That's why I was asking Jason, hey, do you have protected times where you're working clearly on one area of business and not allowing other distractions to come in your way? Look at what Uzziah Israel said when he removes distractions from his life. Better sleep, better finances. When you know where you're going, you're less likely to get pulled off course. You say no faster, you waste less time. You don't have to keep wondering what God wants because your direction already tells you. So let me give you guys a simple way to run your life from this point forward. This is with no hype, no goal board, no motivational nonsense. We're building systems now. When it comes to your vision, you need to know that ordered vision has 3 parts: direction, boundaries, and steps. You need these three things in order to apply order to your life so that you can have a vision. Here is how you build the vision. You first start with direction. Direction answers, where is my life going? That is the question. Where's my life going? Not someday. We're going to start with this season. Where is my life going when it comes to my career, when it comes to my family, when it comes to my faith? Where is my life going? What is this year actually about for you? If you can't say it in one sentence, you don't have direction yet. So here's the action I want you to take. I want you to write one sentence that describes what you're building right now. Not what's keeping you busy. What are you building? What is your legacy? What are you building? Not everything, just this season. You see, I'm in a season right now of restarting my YouTube channel. We got it going, Men of Order. And it's a very clear direction. We're doing these sessions 3 times a week: Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday. Write the vision, make it plain. I don't need the next 50 years mapped out on YouTube. I'm just telling you, right now in this season, we're doing these sessions 3 times a week. You got to have a sense of direction. But you also have to have boundaries. Notice this, even if you have direction, you can still get pulled off course if you don't have boundaries. Boundaries answer, what does not belong in my week? Right, Sir Yasharala? What does not belong in my week? For a lot of you guys, it's very clear what belongs in your week. You might know what to do, you might know where to work, but here's the question that you have not answered. And some of you might shy away from: what doesn't belong in my week? Here's how you answer the question: what drains you but doesn't move you forward? What do you keep saying yes to out of guilt? What eats away at your time but produces nothing? That's where your boundaries lie. You need to get very clear on those things if you're going to be productive. So here's the action that I want you to take. I want you to circle one thing in your week that doesn't belong. Maybe it's one meeting. Maybe it's one habit. Maybe it's one commitment that you shouldn't have made. And then decide what happens to it. Notice what Talk That Truth Radio said. I have had to improve drastically on setting boundaries. Absolutely. Because if not, those distractions will pull you away from the dream. He said, I used to have trash boundaries. The Cowboys fans would have a field day with me. You got to have boundaries, man. You got to do it. Otherwise, the dream is sacrificed. If you don't sacrifice anything to reach your dream will be the sacrifice. Simple as that. So I need you to decide today, what's going to be the one thing that you're no longer going to bring into this week? I don't care what it is. Just pick something. So that way you can start removing boundaries and make more room for your gift and your vision. But don't forget, you can't just have direction and boundaries. You also need steps. Okay, remember what I was saying to Jason. It's not that the business is wrong fundamentally. It may be that you started this business at the wrong step of your life. You have to make sure that you're doing it in the right step. So steps answer what is the next right move. Some of y'all are thinking 10 moves down the line, but you don't know what your next step should be. So right now, we're not talking about 10 moves ahead. Right now, we're not talking about a 5-year plan. That's going to come. Right now, we're talking about one clear action that matches your direction. I keep telling you guys to stop trying to work for work's sake. You are not a slave. Your work only matters when it matches a good direction. Point the work in the right direction. Okay, so here's the action that I want you to take. I want you to write down the very next thing that you will do tomorrow that moves you in the direction that you chose. You've made a bold decision during this session to give your life a sense of direction. That makes you a better man, a better father, a better husband, a better leader. You have made the decision to operate in order and purpose. Now that you have a direction defined, what's the very first thing that you're going to do to move you in the direction that you chose? This is why this session is at the start of the week. Y'all got a whole work week in front of you, and you can choose tomorrow to do one thing that's actually going to move you in the direction of your vision. What's that one thing going to be? I want you to write down the very next thing that you're going to do to walk in the direction that you chose. And it must be written down. Write the vision and make it plain. Pen and paper is best. One page. If it's not written, it's not real. And you'll know you did this right when you can explain your direction in one sentence. It's that clear. You'll know that you've done it right when you know what doesn't belong in your week. See, some of y'all, when you add this level of direction and clarity to your life, it becomes obvious what no longer belongs. When you add this level of clarity in your life, you're going to already see what you do and don't have time for. You will know that you did this action correctly when you know the very next thing that you need to be doing. It's not guesswork. It's not vague. It's clear. It's plain. That's it. If your faith has feelings but no direction, it's disordered. Where there's no vision, the people perish. Faith without works is dead. The work is going to come after we've got the vision defined. The work is coming. You know how to work. The work is not the problem. The lack of vision is the problem. We put the vision in place and then we work. Okay? So I want us to lock this in, guys. Here's the ordered outcome for today's session. An ordered man does not work harder. He works toward something. I need y'all to hear me. Vision first, effort second. An ordered man does not work harder. This is the main thing holding so many people back. An ordered man does not focus on working harder. He works on working on something worthwhile. So many people are moving, but they're not going anywhere. An ordered man does not work harder. He works towards something. Vision first, effort second. So before you log off, I want you to ask yourself, where am I pouring energy in my life that has no clear end? How am I pouring my entire cup into nothing that's giving me a return on my investment? This is your time. This is time that you will never get back in your life. Where are you pouring your energy and it's not giving you anything back? You're working and you're busy being busy, but busy and productive are two different things. I want y'all to always remember, men of order exist to build lives that don't crush the men living inside them. How do men get crushed? They work themselves into the freaking ground, trying to make it, trying to survive, when nobody told them, if you're not working towards something that's going to maximize the blessings for you and your family, what is the point? Men of order exist to build lives that don't crush the men living inside them. This is to develop you, King. In the next session, I'm going to show you how ordered men make more money without burning themselves out. And you'll see why working harder actually lowers your value, and how clarity, proper positioning, and clear language increases your income without adding stress. You'll walk away knowing exactly what to focus on, so your effort finally pays you back instead of draining you, because now you'll be tying your effort to a vision that is worthwhile. If this work helps you and you want to support this platform, you can do that through Cash App. I got the Cash App information on the screen. Gen Wealth Podcast. You can super chat. The $sign is on the screen. Even if you watch this after the live stream is over, you could give a super thanks. I appreciate it. Or you can support the work through PayPal, okay? PayPal.me/The Uzziah Show. No pressure. Just support if it's been valuable. Until next time, Walk in order, brothers. Peace.